man that I appreciate. But if you really need to know, he's a white man I appreciate. Give it up for John. That's the highest compliment you can get from a black person. You don't seem that bad. That's the best compliment you can put. Thank you. So I'll work towards that. All right, great. Thanks for coming out. I thought an appropriate way to start this show would be to talk about the time I spent spring break as a patient in a mental ward. Spring break, Brattleboro. Spring break in the loony bin. Not what MTV promised me as a child. What I got, all the same. The first batshit weird thing to happen in a series of just fucking weird shit that happened. Driving up with my full family, like I'm going to camp. Driving up, gang's all here. Right out, we get there. Big sign out front that just says, "Now hiring all positions." Which is the last thing you want to see outside of a mental hospital you're about to be locked inside of. Because that's just a sign that says, "Help! We are outnumbered. And we need bodies in any way we can." You don't even have to be alive. We'll probably, you have mannequins in your basement, we'll take those. And that freaked me out for like 30 seconds. Then I realized I was joining the winning team. I was feeling like an outsider. Patient. If shit hits the fan, I just join the attack. I'm part of the problem. This is, as soon as I got in, right, I'm just kind of looking around waiting for this first, like, welcome to the loony bin moment, because I know I'm in a weird place. It doesn't feel like it at first. Just kind of standing there, like, looking around without shoelaces, like. And then, right, here's the thing. Life in the bin is either it's either very boring or the weirdest shit you've ever seen in your entire life. You're either drinking water to pass the time, or someone is proving to you why they belong in an institution. Maybe within an hour of me being there, I'm just, like I said, I'm looking around, right? And then just like, there's one hallway. This kid slides out. Like that. Already I know I'm in trouble. Then I look, this kid looks like if an Amish team dressed at Hot Topic. That's the kid's name. And then I look closer and he's double fisting cartons of milk. It's not lunchtime. He smuggled it. He smuggled milk out of the lunchroom. He's holding it like a weapon too. I've never seen anyone white knuckle milk before. So me, I'm like, he's gonna stab me to death with this milk. If we're playing Clue, it's John dead in a mental hospital with a box of milk. The weirdest death of all time. And then he just starts marching at me. Just no reason for this man to be moving this fast indoors. Absolutely not. Sir, there's a roof over your head. I know you don't have shoelaces. Not nearly enough ankle support to be moving at this outrageous rate. And he's coming right at me. Like, no, just at me. And just like gets like right up. I'm like, no introduction. Goes, "They blocked one of my websites." No name, just. And like an idiot, I'm like, "What do you mean your website?" Like completely forgetting where I am. And then he just gets this like weird look of satisfaction on his face, like he won and I knew I'd been tricked. I'm like, God damn it. And he just looks at me and just kind of goes, "Dragon porn?" I'm like, dude, you could have just said it. You didn't have to trick me into learning that. Now I feel weird that you involved me in this somehow. Like that feels like it's part of it. Like I had to accidentally learn that you're like jerking it to dragons and wizards and shit. Either way, that's the most of what you do inside of a mental hospital is just group therapy all day. So you get to know a lot about the people you were in there with. Learned a lot about everyone except for Dragon Porn guy. Every answer he gave just left me with more questions. We're doing one, right? Theme of the day. This is day one. Theme is, who's your co-pilot on the path to recovery? everyone's giving very standard human answers, like mom, dad, brother, sister. We get to him, he just goes, yeah, I'd be my guardian shadow bane. Like that's an okay thing to be saying anywhere. Like I was like, that's weird for here. I know we're in the weirdest place, that's still weird. And our social worker, this sweet angel woman named Susan, just goes, that's amazing. Shadowbane sounds like he would be a terrific guardian. What the fuck are you talking about? We don't know what this is. We don't know if it's a man. Is it a goblin? A ghoul? It's probably a dragon. I don't want it to be a dragon. It probably is. Also, what is he guarding? Is there a realm here I'm unaware of? Is this a legal guardian? Is Shadowbane your dad? Like, what is going on? None of these, there are no answers here. You don't get explanations in the loony bin ever. Just weird shit happens, and then it keeps happening, and then one day you go home. The ordeal left me with a lot of respect for mental health professionals, because it's a very hard job to do. Primarily because you're not allowed to get mad at the patients, which is very frustrating because crazy people are dicks. Crazy people are dicks, but they don't know it, and they also can't help it. It's just really hard when you're out here trying to save lives. There was one day we're doing one, right, Susan's back, and Susan, no one's out here trying harder than Susan to turn shit around for this group. And so she's trying to put like a crisp narrative structure on group therapy, which is like, read the room, like no one here is with it right now. But nevertheless, she like gathers us in one day for this big like Dead Poet Society speech. She's like, guys, sadness is okay. It's so okay to be sad. Looking at all of us, this feels a little targeted. It's okay to be. What's the first thing that babies do when they're born? They cry. Sadness is just a part of life. Immediately, this burly woman next to me named Big Al goes, yeah, I don't get that at all because my son did not cry when he was born. And Susan, ready. She's expecting it. She goes, and that's because happiness is also a part of life. And just stands back like she's done it. Yeah, no, Big Al comes back. Yeah, no, my baby didn't say a word. The umbilical cord is wrapped around his neck. He was purple. He couldn't make a sound, so I don't understand what you're trying to say here at all. This doesn't make sense. She's getting angry, and she just has to stand there and go, stop! I am so sorry that happened to you. I'm going back to school now. I don't know I'm doing any job but this. I'll see you guys in 20 minutes. Yeah. Fun game to play in the bin is Never Have I Ever. That shit gets out of hand in a hurry. Not a game supposed to be played in the mental hospital. It's made for high schoolers trying to figure out which one of their friends are still virgins. That's what the game is for. But here we are, right? Someone first round tries to wade us gently into the game by saying, okay, so never have I ever, I don't know, smoked crack. Fully expecting everyone to say, we too have never smoked crack. Let's proceed to handjob stuff. Instead, two people at the same time go, well, when you say smoked crack, are we talking freebase or what? You gotta be more specific and then look at each other and say, oh shit, and high five. Like, that there set a tone that we as a group are never going to match. You can't be the crackhead at Never Have I Ever. There's nothing a crackhead has not done to either obtain or recreate the effects of crack. Someone literally said, never have I ever been hit by a bus. And Big Al goes, yeah, no, I have. And I'm like, bullshit. And she pulled out the news article to prove it. This woman got hit by a bus so hard it made the news. And she just walked it off. Like, yeah, I'd heard rumblings rumblings in the ether about crackhead strength and whatnot. But apparently it's all true. Evidently that is the trade-off. If you smoke crack, you get to live forever, but you look 300 years old the entire time. I didn't know what to do after this. I called my mom. I was like, this just happened. This is how my day went today. And she didn't really know how to respond to that. Like, she was be like, wow, like, I bet you're like the best one in there. I mean, like, probably if it's a competition. I'm not gonna put that on my resume when I get out of here. Sanest person in the mental hospital. My great superlative on the way out. At best, that's coming in second to last place. She's very confused as to why it's all happened. Like, I have no origin story. Nothing went wrong. My parents love me and I had a pool. There's no reason for me to have ever been in an asylum. She sent me an article that was like, maybe the internet is why you're depressed. Which, like, one, no, but two, maybe. I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine here. The internet's an awful place. It's a terrible thing. That's a common debate. Is the internet good or bad? It's bad. It's bad. It's not even a little bit good. Remember, look, to me, this debate was settled in 2016 when Microsoft came out with Tay, the artificial intelligence Twitter bot. Right? Good. I'm glad that no one remembers this. You're about to have a lot of fun. Yeah, there's like three key letters. You know exactly what's coming. Yeah, no, this is good. So, right, they came out with this Twitter bot, which the purpose of which, right, very noble pursuit. It is going to listen to the internet and learn its language, the human language, and then speak it back to us. Microsoft tried to give us a friend. And within 8 hours it blamed Jews for the Holocaust. And then 8 hours after that it changed its mind and decided that the Holocaust never happened in the first place. Within 16 hours of being on the internet, this thing went from hello to Hitler. And then Microsoft had to apologize to us. They had to come out and be like, yeah, we should have known that was going to happen. They had to apologize to us, the nation, for teaching its computer how to be anti-Semitic. That fucking crap. I live for corporate apologies. Because that just means that so many people had to fuck up at once that they had to then come out and say sorry. That anyone had to say sorry to us. Remember, like, in 2012, Hanes, the white t-shirt company, had to apologize to the nation for running a commercial where Michael Jordan had a Hitler stash. That's incredible for a couple of reasons. Most importantly, the fact that Michael Jordan left the house with a Hitler stash means that Michael Jordan thinks he's cooler than Hitler was bad. That's how cool Michael Jordan thinks Michael Jordan is. He shaved that into his face, looked in the mirror and said, oh, they'll forget. And then Hanes agreed. Hanes agreed with that assessment. They were like, you know what, Mike, you're right. 6 titles does outweigh the 5 decades. If we're adding it up, we're doing some sabermetrics right now, we think we're going to come out fine on this one. That's the thing, if you're a company, let alone a white t-shirt company, the only thing you have to do is just not be associated with white supremacy. Haynes hired a black spokesman and still fucked that up. That's incredible. I'm waiting patiently. My white whale of corporate apologies is Disney. I'm waiting for them because no one tries harder to have a squeaky clean family image, and no one gets away with more dumbass shit than Disney. Right? I thought we had them when they came out with Beauty and the Beast the second time, because the whole point of that movie is that a girl would fuck a bear. Without that important foundation, the movie does not get off the ground. That is the first thing they go over, is that she has to not know that he could be a human. She has to fuck him thinking he's a bear forever. If she isn't at least down to give the bear a hand job, there's no movie. In the first scene, the movie starts, Dad is in jail, and his daughter's like, what the fuck happened here? And he's like, I got captured by a bear. I don't know how it happened either. But it's probably going to eat me. So it's been real. And she's like, put me in. And he's like, no. Why would I think of all the things that the bear could do to you? She's like, I know. I can't stop. Put me in the fucking bear. Green Day got more shit for every studio album they ever put out than Beauty and the Beast did twice. We made this twice. They took it out of the grave, and the only thing they changed was they just made the bear more realistic the second time around. They just doubled down on it. And the only people besides me who had any issue with this at all was the country Malaysia. But not because of the bear fucking, they just thought it was too gay. That was the complaint. They watched the movie. It was like, they're like, hey, Walt, please take the gay shit out of our bear fucking movie. And you can kiss our ringgits goodbye. Which is insane, because the country Malaysia is so much less powerful than the company Disney. It's insane. Malaysia trying to tell Disney what to do is like a child yelling at the moon. I didn't even know what Malaysia was until they lost the plane out of the sky. That's what it took to get them on the map. They had to not only crash a plane, but lose it forever. They came out with a map of the world and just pointed at the Indian Ocean, like it's somewhere in here probably. And then like a week later they came back out and they're like, so the ocean's a lot bigger than we thought. We're just gonna call it off now and get back to trying to boycott Disney. Like, right, how do you get opinions as a nation after that? It should be someone's job to follow around like the Malaysian delegation at the UN and just like every time trying to buzz in with an answer, be like, yeah, so before they get going, just a reminder, these were the guys who lost the plane after they already sent it into the stratosphere. They misplaced it afterwards. So let's just think about that before we hear what they have to say about human rights. All right, go. You guys go. Do your thing now. All right, I'll get out of here. Yeah, I don't even think Disney realized they were like showing the movie in Malaysia. Like, if anything, that was just a courtesy screening for the orphans they've been forcing to make the toys. Yeah. That's how I feel. I've been saying all this on the internet for years. One of my friends one time was like, you can't, what are you doing, man? Like, why are you saying all this? So what if you're like in a job interview with Disney and they're like, why did you call us bear fuckers 82 times in 2016? Like, buddy, I am not a corporate man. That is not, it is very clear. If you haven't been able to tell by this point in the show, like, I don't have like a job after this. Which is like, that's too bad because like healthcare like would have been sick, but you can't have it all, evidently. The closest I ever came to like a corporate career, I worked at Six Flags New England for 2 weeks, and I'm now on the no rehire list for all of time. I'm never allowed back. I worked for 2 weeks when I was 19, and I cannot go back there. First, some quick notes about Six Flags. I grew up right next to it, and it's been a shit show for forever. And a lot, really the fun, like the joy, the theater of Six Flags, comes from the fact that it is right next to Springfield, Massachusetts. Which, yeah, that's a weird reaction for a place that you'll never want to step foot in. Here's the thing, Springfield recently named the worst city in America on account of very high crime and no redeemable qualities whatsoever. Here's the thing. Now, the socioeconomic reality of Springfield, Massachusetts is that it is a lot cheaper to buy a Six Flags Seasons Pass than it is to buy daycare in the summertime. That's just the truth. It costs about $4,000 to put your kid in childcare for the summer. A Six Flags Seasons Pass costs whatever you have in your pockets at the time. What this means is that every summer, Six Flags is just filled with rogue Latino youths terrorizing white mothers. Like this fun new age version, like West Side Story. Where they fuck your last pass, Deborah! Just going to town. It's fucking hysterical. I highly recommend you go, should you be given the chance. It's a blast. Which is why I wanted to work there. I wanted to see inside the operation. Now here's the thing, I could only work for 2 weeks, because I was going back to school. I didn't tell them that though. I had to convince them that I dropped out of college so they would give me the job. First and last time I'll ever have to do that. Afterwards, I had to complete a children's math worksheet that was just, it was on dollars and cents. But not like addition and subtraction, you just had to say how much you were looking at. And you only had to get 7 out of 10 correct. To work at Six Flags, you need to have no higher education and be able to identify a nickel correctly 70% of the time. Now, I have a system whenever I start a new job, which is that first day, best employee you've ever seen in your entire life. Every day after that, I mail it in. First day at Six Flags, I was so good at my job, they gave me a raffle ticket for my work performance. Every following day, they were just very confused as to what had happened to the most promising employee they had to go to actively the worst, possibly detrimental employee in the whole organization. I had a lot of fun there just because I would just give out prizes for any, I worked in the games department, I gave away prizes for any reason I could think of. Any black person I saw got a prize, because reparations gotta start somewhere, baby. And it might as well be at Six Flags New Orleans. I'm not gonna let them be on the wrong side of history here. You can't fire me for that. It's racist if I get fired for that. After that too, any minimum wage employee, anyone who I guessed made minimum wage got free prizes. And here's the thing, what's the point of power if you don't abuse it to help your friends? And if you're a minimum wage employee, all other minimum wage employees should be your friend. And that's a belief that is just derived personally out of bitterness towards one incident that I had at the Enfield Rave Cinemark movie theater one summer. Which, little backstory, so this particular movie theater has a little promotion that they run where if you buy a large tub of popcorn, you can refill that shit for free. No one ever does this because it's a massive amount of popcorn, so they just throw it away. Then I go in like a raccoon in the night and just take the boxes home with me and stockpile in my bedroom and show back up with it later with my free refill tag still attached. 9 times out of 10, they take mercy on me. Like, clearly, this is not the habit of a rich man. This one time, however, like a 16-year-old, looked at me and was like, "Hey, what day you buy that? I was like, "Buddy, I'm here alone for a matinee of Secret Life of Pets on a Tuesday. Clearly, I could use a victory. Give me the popcorn." He's like, "If you don't have a receipt, I'm not going to give you the popcorn." Which at that point, I just went home. Like, there's no... If you're a manager, I get it. If you're 30 years old and working at a movie theater, die on that hill. I respect that. I respect that, okay? If you're a minimum wage employee, we're on the same team, okay? When the oil runs out, we're on the same team. Cinemark's not gonna save you, okay, when shit hits the fan. And now neither am I. Now me and my mental hospital militia are gonna come after your ass, and we're stomping you out first, alright? None of this is why I got on the no rehire list, by the way. They did not, the blatant theft wasn't even close to on their radar. The reason I'm not ever allowed to work at Six Flags again is because, now, like I said, I could only work there for 2 weeks. I knew that going into it. If I was an honest employee, I would have shown up on my first day, my 2 weeks notice, and been like, "All right, so like, what happens here?" So on what only I knew to be my last day, like I went looking for someone to quit to, and that's when I found out that I had won the raffle. From the one raffle ticket I got from the one good day of work that I had. And what is the raffle prize, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. 1 free meal with a member of management. Yeah. Oh, I wonder who came came up with that prize? Management, perhaps? Under any other circumstance, I would have been furious. I would have taken to the streets. However, I was like, perfect, I can get free chicken tenders and quit all at once. That's a very efficient price received today. So I march up to a manager, I'm like, I want my, I won the raffle, I want my food now. And I want it with you. And he's like, no. He's like, no, you got. I'm very busy. I'm like, no, you're not. And he's like, you gotta schedule it. You have to schedule that. And he's like, when are you next coming in to work? And I'm like, that's not gonna work. I want 2 free meals for myself. And then he goes, no, you can't do that. I'm like that. All right, fine. I want my meal. I want 1 free meal for myself. He goes, no, you can't do that either. It has to be with management. Which at this point I'm furious, because that just means that the managers at Six Flags just don't have any friends. And they're trying to trap their employees into hanging out with them. Okay? So at this point I'm like, no, if I can't have the chicken tenders now, I quit. And he goes, and I turn just to see him and just start walking away. And he's like, if you leave and quit right now, I will put you on the no rehire list forever. And I said, good. Good. Put me on the no rehire list. Force me to move forwards with my life. Help me help myself. And I really thought that was never going to come back to haunt me. And then I came back from the loony bin. And I did not have a ton of professional options at the time. A mental hospital is not a place you go to network. Did not come away with new LinkedIn connections after that week. Now, then I get an email from UMass Career Services that says, you are invited to a last chance career fair, which is a very polite way of saying we know things aren't going great for you right now. And so, when I said I had not very many professional options, I had none. I had 0. So I went. And who's the one goddamn table there? Six Flags New England. And I had to look at them. And they're like, would you like to come work at Six Flags? More flags, more fun? And I was like, I really would. Right now, I truly would. But you won't let me. From now until forever. And the guy's just sitting there in his fucking t-shirt and he's like, oh no. And I was like, yeah, this has been, I'm sitting my fucking resumes in my tie, like ready for a new beginning. He's like, all right, well, this has been fun. I'm gonna go home now. Yeah. Going to the loony bin was weird. Coming back, arguably weirder. Because you just had to explain it to people. A lot of people are going to find out about this whenever they watch this video. That's where we're going to figure out where I was in spring of 2018. What ended up happening was a lot of people would just tell me that I looked healthy. It's a very odd compliment to get, because that just means that you look very bad very, very recently. Which was news to me, because I knew things were not going great on the inside. I thought I was at least keeping it together. Evidently, this was not the case at all. 4 people in the span of a week came up to me and were like, you look really healthy. And look, first time that happens, that's a weird thing for them to say. What a weird compliment to give. I don't like that you said that, but weirdo. Second time, that's a weird coincidence. You're the second person to say the same weird thing to me in a week. Third is alarming. 4th is a wake-up call. 4th person to say that I look healthy in the span of 1 calendar week was one of my old professors. So not even someone who only saw me once. This is someone who saw me 3 days a week for a couple months. And she, you look really healthy. I'm like, what did I look like in your class? What did I look like to you before if now I look healthy? And she goes, and she's very taken aback because she just gave me a nice compliment and not expecting me to scream in public. And she just goes, you look healthy. Well, we could just tell that something wasn't right. That we could just tell something wasn't right. The whole class was in on this conclusion. That means I was an inside joke to a class for the entire semester. They all got together and like, yeah, John looks like shit, huh? Let's not tell him. Like, I was pissed about this for a little bit, because I was like, how? Because I was like, clearly everyone knew that I looked like hell, and just none of my friends told me. Which, at first I was like pissed about this, and then one day I realized, oh, no, they did tell me. They told me often. I chose not to listen. Someone literally looked me in the eyes and said, you look like you don't think you're fat. And that didn't register with me at all. That went right over my head. I was like, he just hates me for my personality. And I don't feel a slightest bit bad about this. Now, like, right, I don't look that bad now. Like, right now I think I'm like Swedish obese. Like, that's my body type. Like, you could take a picture of me, any Nordic government would take a photo of me and show it to their children and be like, if you make every wrong decision, this is what is gonna happen. I'll take that in America. That's second to last place, I'll take it here. I look fine. I look like I could compete in an Alabama Ironman right now. I'm okay with that. When I was a child, I was just fat. I was just fat as a child. And I knew it too. I didn't want to know it, but I knew it. That's the thing. When you love a fat child, you lie to them. As you should. But there's only so many times that you can keep up that lie. Breaking a Wii Fit is not one of those times. Yeah, everyone has a bit of reckoning to do when there's a crack in the Wii Fit for you. Another one, my favorite one, was there's an episode of Arthur the Aardvark, where Arthur just gets fat immediately. Just gets dumb thick in about 10 minutes into the episode. And because of this, he has to start wearing husky jeans. Which is how I found out that husky meant for fat children and not fans of the Yukon Huskies, as I was originally told. There is no coming back from that one at all. No one, my parents couldn't even be like, yeah, no, we're sorry. That's just how it is, buddy. So now I'm very keyed in on this episode. It's a PBS show. So Arthur has to get skinny again. Like, Michelle Obama didn't die for this, right? We can't tell the kids this message. So how do the animators, the producers of Arthur the Aardvark decide to get Arthur back in shape? Ping pong. They had Arthur do a 30-second ping pong montage, and then he was skinny again. Cut to me in my basement a day later trying to paddle my way into a six-pack. Very confused as to why I'm still fat. Do you understand how different my life would be if they just had Arthur go swimming? What a different trajectory my life would have been. I would have been a corporate man, I'll tell you that right now, if Arthur just went swimming. Eventually my mom made me start running, which I was very upset about because I was like, I can just play ping pong and this will be fine. I don't know why you're putting me through this. She forced me to join up with our middle school's cross-country team, which, now I know earlier I said I didn't have an origin story, but if we have to retrace our steps and pick out a point where maybe things started to go wrong, it would be the year I spent as an amateur cross-country runner in 7th grade. Now, a middle school cross-country team normally has like 10 kids on it maybe. You only need 7 to run a race. Our team had 120. Outrageous amount of children. No reason to be carrying 113 bench players on your roster. Now, as a result of that, we had to, for like logistic reasons, we all had to run in color groups, right? Depending on your time. And now this is like the bulk of the school is on this team, right? So like the red group was the slowest group. This is the closest thing you can get to a leper colony, is being in the red running group. Now, here's the thing. I was terrified that I was going to be in the red group because I was the slowest person that I or anyone else had ever seen at that time. Look, I ran a 27-minute 2-mile. That was my time, right? To be a cop, you have to run a 16-minute 2-mile. Think of the fattest cop you've ever seen in your entire life. I'm thinking of mine. He looked like a bowling ball. That man ran 2 miles 10 full minutes faster than I did. So, knowing that I'm very terrified that I'm going to be placed in the red group, and my friends are just, no way, dude, we know you're slow, you're not that slow. Like, there's no possible way you're going to be in the red group. And so sure enough, we check the list, they had to make 2 new groups underneath the red group for me to be in by myself. 119 kids, 2 empty groups, me in the black group alone. But I still had to run with the red group, and they're like, but you're not a part of them yet. Like, you'll get there. To make matters worse, I also got to pick my jersey last, which meant that they ran out of men's singlets, and I had to wear a ladies' singlet. So this fucker is tight in all of the wrong places. Just, I had heavy hips as a child. I had the frame of a pregnant dog. Like, you didn't know what was going on underneath, and it wasn't good. It also, too, came with a built-in sports bra, like sewn into it, which was clearly visible. So, like, which in retrospect probably helped overall. Still, very embarrassing. This is the only time in my life where I never wanted any attention at all. And yet I came in last every single race while wearing a skin-tight women's singlet with a sports bra. So I was a bit of a spectacle to all 120 of the team. The whole middle school. Now, to make matters worse, there's one day where our coach, right, was very upset, and she gathers everyone around, and she's upset with the effort put in by the team. And she's like, listen, y'all, look, some of you are just not trying very hard. And it's very disrespectful to the kids who do try very hard. And I'm like, this is directed exclusively at me. This has to be at me. This is not a story of perseverance and grit. To this day, I'm the only person who got worse as the season went on. Like, I started at 27 minutes, I ended at 29. So I'm like, she's about to lay me out in front of everyone. And instead, she goes, when you guys don't try hard, I feel so bad for poor John Zawawi. John tries so hard, and he comes in last every time. Every time he comes in last, but he never quits. He never quits, and I'm in the back like, I could have quit? Are you kidding me? This whole time I could have left, and it would have been fine. I could have quit, and before I could just fucking peel off the singlet and leave, she starts to cry. She starts to cry at my 29-minute 2 mile. Moved her to tears. Maybe 15 minutes of that was running. 14 minutes of that is me convincing myself to even walk. And now, the team didn't know what to do, so they turned around and they started to clap. So now the coach is sobbing, and everyone I've ever known has turned to face me and is clapping for me for the worst achievement of my entire life. I have never in my life wanted to die more than that moment, and that includes the days immediately preceding me being put in a mental hospital. This was all context leading up to a story I'm about to tell you, which is titled, The Worst Thing I've Ever Done in My Entire Life. Now, I said earlier that I came in last every single time. What I did not tell you was that it was the team's tradition to run in behind the last place finisher up until the finish line. So, at the very end of the race, as I'm at my weakest, both physically and emotionally, everyone who I ever knew, fresh with the energy from waiting for me to get out of the woods, would run in a massive pack, screaming, hooting and hollering in support, patting themselves in the back like they thought they were doing like a good supportive thing and not like kicking off a decade's worth of depression. Like that's... And I hated this more than anything else in the whole world. It was the most like humiliating experience of my life, repeated on a weekly basis. And then one day, we faced a team that had a runner who happened to have autism. some of you can see where this is headed. Now, during the race, I come across him at a fork in the road. This is in the woods. It's just the two of us. No one can see. And if I've caught up to someone during a race, something has gone terribly wrong for them. So I stop to see what's happening. And he looks and he's like, which way do I go? And I look, and to his left is the very clearly marked path. And to his right is about 500 acres of private farmland. And so now I have a choice to make. I can do the right thing, or I cannot come in last for the first time in my life. And I'm standing there for a long time, trying to figure out what to do. And he looked relieved because he's like, okay, good. He also is confused by the layout of the course. He doesn't know which way is the right way. And I'm like, yes, but in a very different sense, my friend. Which way is the right way today of all days? And I thought about this for the longest goddamn time. And then pointed at the cornfields and just said, it's that way. And he took off. I was like, thank you! And just ran. With just the biggest smile of gratitude. Gratitude I didn't deserve. Gratitude I should have given back if I had any integrity to my soul whatsoever. I wish I could tell you I felt anything but bliss. Nothing but relief just washed over me. Because I'm like, oh my God, I'm free. I'm free. I walked the rest of the way. It took me so long to finish the course that everyone just thought I was in last anyways. Like they all started running behind me. Maybe out of like muscle memory. They saw me come out of the woods and like, there he is. Fire it up, put your shoes back on. He's here. Let's get going. And they all start to run behind me. Yeah, John, you're doing so great, buddy. You got it so close. And I'm furious because I'm not in last place. Just bubbling with 12-year-old hormonal just fury. And I just stop the race and turn and say, hey, I'm not in last. There's an autistic kid in the woods. He's in last. And we all just stood there in silence for a while. The parents all heard. The opposing team all heard. The coaches, the principal was there. We all just stood in silence at that one for a while. And then his parent goes, oh shit! And runs into the woods. I do not know if she ever found him. I didn't stick around to find out. I was like, yeah, Mom, we gotta go. I've done something and we gotta start the car. There wasn't an Amber Alert later, so I assume everything went fine. But so I just turned around and faced them, and we all reckoned with the fact that not only did I know that there was a runner with a disability lost in the woods, did nothing to help him, in fact sabotaged him for my own personal gain, selfish beyond a reasonable doubt. We just stand there, and for the very first time, I crossed the finish line in second to last place. That's my show, guys.